Iamtallboy Experience.
This is Jimmy Jam. Do you want the experience? Tallboy's about to give it to you. Yes.
If you want the exclusive, you want the tall boy, because he's going to bring you the exclusive.
Hey, it's the Tallboy Experience, man. CES 2017. That's right, we're here, we're live, and we just came out of a press conference, and I'm walking down the aisle, the hallway, and I bump into one of the songwriters of our past time, our current time, just any time, Mr. Jimmy Jam. How you doing?
I like anything with time in it. What time is it?
Well, it's called flight time. That's what
right.
it is.
Flight time. There we go. We like that.
So what brings you to CES?
Well, basically, this is always the best of technology that we have here. But I'm a creative guy, and I like when there's an intersection between creativity and technology. And this year at CES, because of the push for high-res audio, which I'm a part of, we have an intersection where creators and labels are together with the tech companies to actually bring this to fruition so that the listeners at the end of the day will have a better music experience.
Now, Hi-Res, is this like an actual company? Is this a brand? I mean, because I saw the title, Sony, Atlantic was all in this press conference today. I mean, what is Hi-Res for the ones that are not familiar?
Well, high-res would be the equivalent of, if you were using TV as a metaphor, would probably make the most sense. You know, you had standard definition television, and then everything went to HD, right? Went to high definition.
Right.
And you can't even watch one of the old sets anymore. You got to watch the new set because of the way the picture is. Basically, high-res is that same thing for sound. So what you will hear, when you listen most of the time in what's called MP3, basically the sound is compressed. It takes away all the highs, it takes away all the lows. You're still hearing things, but you're not hearing it the way that it was recorded. So this is the idea behind this is to let people hear it the way that it sounds in the studio when we actually record it. And there's a lot more emotion to the music because it's not being compressed. It's free, basically, to impact you, you know.
Now, the artists, I take it they're connecting with the actual record labels, and the record labels are providing this with the quality of the music that they're producing. Is that correct? Yeah.
It's important that all the record labels be together and that all the technology companies be together. A long time ago, there was, back in the days of VHS tape, for people that might remember that, there was a VHS versus beta, and which was the best format to go with. And anytime you have to make people choose between formats of how to do something, it doesn't work. So what we've come up with now is anything that's high res, it means the same. Once again, TV is a good thing. You can buy a Sony TV, a Samsung TV, a LG TV. It all works. It's not like you have to have a separate satellite dish or a separate cable company in order to work a certain TV. Everything works with everything. Everything is compatible. Everything is collaborative. So that's what this is today. It's talking about the collaboration amongst all the tech companies, about all the record labels, so that when you see the symbol that's high-res audio, you know that you will be able to play it on all your devices and it will be available to everyone. You don't have to make the choice of what you do, you just will be able to get high-quality sound.
Now, speaking of high-res, you've been around for a long time, and you've produced for Janet, you've produced for Morris Day and the Time, Sherelle, and the list goes on and on. Can you just talk real briefly of how that change has come from back when you first started to where you are now?
Well, it's interesting because in the studio, the process hasn't changed a lot. Now, the technology has changed a lot. We can basically make records on a laptop now, and in many cases have done it. We're happy that we have the best of both worlds. We're working with a band right now that's basically set up as a band and playing, and we're doing it like that. But I can go home at night at the end of the day and comp vocals, meaning, edit vocals and do things, just sitting at my computer at home. So the technology has changed. What hasn't changed is the passion that you hear in the studio when you're listening on the best equipment that you can have. The idea is to try to bring that experience to the listener as best as possible we can. And so that's the thing that hasn't changed. Is at the end of the day, you still have to have great music. We just want the music that comes out to sound better to consumers.
Speaking of good music, what do you think of the music of where it's going today? They say R&B is dying. They say the blues is not being respected. They say that hip hop, that generation, there's a lot of people that are not big fans of the new music that they're creating. What do you say to that?
Well, to me, it's a half full, it's a half empty, how you look at it. Every generation of music, people have probably said that everything is dead at one point or another. I respect the music that I came up on. I'm an R&B guy. I love hip-hop. I'm not of hip-hop, but I love hip-hop is the way I explain it. And I love it. I love the classic hip-hop. But I also like, you have people like Drake and Kendrick Lamar, who I think are pushing hip-hop forward. Chance the Rapper this year probably has the most amazing album. So I think in hip-hop you still have great music. You obviously have, I think R&B is alive and well, certainly with people like Maxwell, people like D'Angelo, who's still out there making great music. Some of the newer cats that are, doing it, and there's a lot of hip-hop influence and a lot of R&B influence mixed in what they do. So I don't think that. I kind of like the encouragement of music going forward. Mm-hmm. I think everybody's going to have their spot where they feel music was the best. But that doesn't mean that music is dying in any way. I think music is alive and well, and there's more people with more access to make music now because of technology. So to me, there's going to be more music out there. Doesn't mean it's going to be better, but it does mean that the access is there, so there's going to be more people doing it, and I think that's a positive thing.
Now I got to ask you, and we're going to briefly wrap this up. How do you want to be remembered?
That's a great question. That's a question that Michael Jackson asked me, and I'm going to tell you that story real quick. So Michael asked me how I wanted to be remembered, and I said, as a nice guy. And he said, well, I don't really understand. Well, actually, he said, I don't really understand that, because do you mean like you want to be remembered for all your #1 records? And I said, no, Michael, I said, I want to be remembered as a nice guy. No, you don't get it, but do you want to be remembered for all your millions of sales? And I said, no, because those are statistics. That's not me, right? So we fast forward a little while later. And I called Michael for something. He called me back and he said, Jimmy, can I tell you something? I said, yes, Michael. He said, remember you said you wanted to be remembered as a nice guy? And I said, yes. He said, whenever somebody asks me about you, that's the first thing I say. I say, he's such a nice guy. And I said, Michael, now you get it. And I said, an interesting thing, I tell people the same thing about you. So he got it. So that's what it is for me. I just want to be remembered as a nice guy. That's it.
Wow. And speaking of being remembered, unfortunately, we lost Prince last year, and there's been a lot of tributes. And with him being a Minneapolis guy, you being a Minneapolis guy, I mean, what do you say to the tributes and all the people that's been doing things for him?
I think I live a Prince tribute every single day, because I wouldn't be standing here if it wasn't for him and the break that he gave me and gave Terry and gave all of us in Minneapolis to put us on the map and make people want to come up and discover us, basically. So there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about him, and there's not a piece of music that I do that's not his handprint isn't on it in some way. So I think the Prince tributes are great that people are doing. I think they will continue to do them. They will observe his birthday. They will observe his anniversary of his death, of his passing, so on and so forth. It's a great thing about music is that music is alive. And also he has so much music that has never been heard before that people are going to continue to hear. And so it's obviously it's bittersweet, but I think I'm happy to have had a chance to work with him and get to know him and actually grow up with him. I went to junior high school with him, so we go back way back. So.
Did you play power forward on the basketball team with him?
No, I did. You know what? I tried to, but after a while, everybody got taller than me. And when it came time to actually dribble and shoot, I couldn't do that. And I was done. I'm gonna try the music thing.
Oh, all right. There it is. For the ones who are not familiar with you, what's one thing that keeps you motivated?
Just the gift to be able to create music. I love waking up every day, and usually there's a song in my head. They're not always good songs, but there's always a kernel of an idea, and I get to actually, see those things through. I never take it for granted. I love it. I get inspired by the artists that are out there, people I want to work with, people who we haven't worked with. Just hearing great music, being around, in an event like this, right, where it's really the who's who. Like I actually Instagrammed, I took a picture with Al Schmidt earlier today. And Al Schmidt's an engineering legend, right? And I just said, I can go home now. I already got my picture with Al Schmidt, so I'm good. I'm good to go.
Well, that's how it was with you when I saw you.
But anyway, it's just inspiration just comes from so many different sources. So I'm just so blessed to be able to do it, and always my number one inspiration is always my partner Terry. You know, we've been doing it for we're celebrating 45 years of friendship and 35 years of business this year. So. Let's go.
My last question for you, and we're going to get on out of here. What do you say to those artists that are looking to get that break, that's trying to trying to be that next star? What do you say to them?
I always say that people always say they use the word waiting. I'm waiting for a break. And I always say take the word waiting out your vocabulary and replace it with the word preparing. You should be preparing for your break, whether it's attending events like this, being part of the Recording Academy or organizations or any sort of networking things that you can do. You're preparing for when that break happens, because you never know when it's going to happen. And also just be prepared. A lot of times people aren't ready. Like if someone walks up to you and goes, "Hey, do you sing?" "Yeah, sing for me right now." And you go, "Oh, well, I don't have my music with me, or I don't have my whatever." You've already blown it.
You missed your opportunity.
You missed your opportunity, yeah.
Well, look, this is a Trumpet Award winner, Grammy Award winner, Everything Award winner. Hey, he's even a Tallboy Award winner. I'm with Jimmy Jam. Thank you so much for your time. We're at CES. Anything that you're looking forward to seeing that's different this year?
Every year for me, it's TVs. I just want to see what the TV's got going this year.
There it is. It's the Tallboy Experience with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. I don't know where he's at, but Jimmy Jam is right now.
Terry's always right here.
There it is. Tallboy Experience, man. We're gone. Think big. Think tall. Think tall boy.
Tall boy.